Hello students, today I am going to talk on regulation of gene expression in eukaryotes. On my previous video, I have talked about prokaryotes. Those who haven't checked that, please do check that. Okay. First, before going for gene expression, we will first talk about organization of DNA because some of the terminologies I'll explain it over here so that we can understand gene expression better. Organization of DNA, what does that mean? Here, for example, in human, a 2-meter long DNA is packed in a nucleus of about 10 micrometer diameter. Now, how is this possible? This is possible by a compact and marvelous packaging and organization of DNA inside a cell. In prokaryote DNA is organized as a single chromosome in the form of a double-stranded circle, while it is packed in the form of nucleoids. While in eukaryotic DNA is organized inside the nucleus and it is associated with various proteins to form chromatin, which then gets organized into compact structure called chromosomes. The DNA double helix is wrapped around the core protein called histones, which are basic in nature. The histones are basic proteins rich in arginine and lysine, and it is the most abundant chromatin protein. Because of their positive charge, they form ionic bonds with negatively charged DNA, and they order the DNA into nucleosomes. These are the nucleosomes. Let me explain that. Histones, there are 5 classes of histones: H1, H2A, H2B, H3, and H4. Here you can see H2A, H2B, H3, H4, and this is H1. A histone is a histone. This is a octamer. Histone octamer. Octamer means 8 protein complex. Here there are 8 histone molecules. They combine together. Okay. Here, this is the core. Okay. This is the core. So this core is composed of 2 molecules of histones. 2 molecules means each of these. See, 2 molecules of H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. And this is wrapped by 2 turns of DNA. This double helix DNA, 2 times it has wrapped around this bead. This is known as a bead, or it is also known as a nucleosome. This is the basic unit of chromatin. And nucleosomes, this is one nucleosome, this is the another nucleosome. They are separated by a spacer DNA. This is the DNA strand. Okay, this is a spacer DNA, or it is also known as a linker DNA. Here you find the H1 histone. Okay. Now this gives a string-like structure. This DNA is the string, while the histone is the bead. So this continuous string represents a bead on string, and it is also known as 10 nanometer fiber. The length of DNA here is considerably reduced by the formation of 10 nanometer fiber. This, can you see here? This is a DNA, and it is wrapped around this, and this forms this is the chromatin. Okay, this is the chromatin, whole thing. And this is a nucleosome. This is having the bead on the string form of chromatin. This chromatin then further, this is the loosely formed, then it gets compact. Can you see? Now it has become even a smaller size, that is a 30 nanometer chromatin fiber. They are packed with the nucleosomes. Can you see? These are the nucleosomes, and this is the whole thing is packed. It is further compact, and then this is formed. Then further it is condensed, and finally it forms the chromosome. Can you see? This small region has been shown in this way. Okay, so can you see? This is then it finally compact and forms the chromosome. So during the course of mitosis, the loops are further coiled and the chromosome condensed to become be visible. Okay, this is the entire mitotic chromosome. DNA is folded and compressed to 10,000 folds to generate the chromosome. Can you see? This was the DNA strand. It has compact and compressed and to this size. This whole thing has been arranged in this small size, and this forms the whole of the chromosomes. Okay, so this is how the whole DNA is complex, and this is known as the organization of DNA. Now, what do you mean by gene expression? Gene expression means formation of gene products. You all know DNA transcribes into mRNA, and mRNA translates to protein. So gene products means both RNA and the proteins, but commonly gene expression is referred to as the formation of protein, the synthesis of proteins from gene. That is known as gene expression. All cells in an organism have the exact same genome, that's DNA. However, all have different proteins, different function, different shape, etc. When we say gene is expressed, it means genes are turned on or expressed. Now, if you see here, DNA polymerase will form, transcribe, in presence of DNA polymerase, this DNA is transcribed to form mRNA. That means this is gene is on. It is transcribing to produce mRNA, which later on after translation produce protein. So here the transcription is on. So here we say gene expression is on. That is genes are turned on. But when we say genes are not expressed, that means transcription is off. DNA polymerase cannot bind and cannot transcribe this DNA to mRNA, and that's why no protein is produced. And that's why here we say that the gene expression is turned off. So how we get so many different kinds of cells with different function? We basically do, what we do is we turn on or turn off different combination of genes. Each cell has the exact same genome. However, a subset of genes are expressed in each cell type is unique, allowing cells to carry out their specific function. Therefore, the difference between cell types are due to the expression of different genes by cells with the same genome. This is called as differential gene expression. So, what regulates gene expression in eukaryotes? So, regulation of gene expression at different levels we can see. At the level of DNA, epigenetic modifications occur, gene amplification, gene rearrangement, and DNA regulatory proteins all helps in regulation of gene expression at the level of DNA. At the level of transcription, there are promoters, alternative mRNA processing, RNA editing, mRNA stability. All these will affect the gene regulation of gene expression at the level of transcription, and even there is regulation at the level of translation. Of this, transcription is a common control point for regulation of gene expression, but there are many steps involved in this. Okay, so these are the different ways how regulation of gene expression occurs in eukaryotes. So now let's see each one of them. So what regulates gene expression? So at different level we can see, at the level of DNA, there are epigenetic modifications, gene amplifications, gene rearrangement, and DNA regulatory proteins. At the level of transcription, there are promoters, alternate mRNA processing, RNA editing, mRNA stability, and even at the level of translation, there is regulation of gene expression. regulation at transcription level is a common control point for regulation of gene expression, but there are many steps included in this. Okay, so now let's see each one of them. Epigenetic regulation of gene expression. It describes changes in characteristics of a cell or an organism not due to changes in nucleotide sequence of DNA. Epigenetic means about genetics regulates gene expression by modulating chromatin structures by methylation of DNA or post-translational modification of histones. Although there is no change in DNA sequence, it is heritable, and so the inheritance is known as epigenetic inheritance. Chromatin remodeling. DNA, as we saw in the organization of DNA is highly compact and organized structure in cells. It is not easily accessible for transcription until it undergoes several changes that make it accessible. That is euchromatin. It has to open up like this. Chromatin remodeling refers to the changes occurring in DNA that enable it to undergo transcription. Such a DNA is called active DNA or euchromatin. The DNA that is not accessible, this is compact, this is not accessible to transcription, and transcription here is inactive and is called heterochromatin. So euchromatin transcription is on, while heterochromatin, as it is compact, the transcription is off. Okay. This is histone modification, specifically acetylation. By acetylation, here the enzyme histone acetyl transferase acetylates it into this histones into acetylation form of histone, acetylated histones. Here you can see that it was heterochromatin. Heterochromatin has to be converted into the loosely formed, that is a euchromatin. Only when the euchromatin form, the acetylation binds, and that leads to the RNA polymerase binds and mRNA is produced and transcription is on. Here the gene is on. While in heterochromatin, it is off. Okay, so acetylation will lead to the gene is on. That means transcription is on and mRNA is produced and translation that produces the protein. While as I said, deacetylation, that is, it will be transcription is off. Then is the methylation of the DNA. Okay, methylation of DNA will lead to inactivation of genes. Methylation, here it is euchromatin. When it is methylated, it is compact and it forms the heterochromatin. And in methyl form, because it is heterochromatin, the genes are turned off and transcription will not take place. Okay. So this is just the same thing I have shown you here. Because of heterochromatin, the methyl groups are usually bound with the cytosine in the sequence of CG. CG means cytosine guanosine of DNA, and it gets methylated to form 5-methyl guanosine. And because it methylated, it loses the transcription activity and thus inactivation of gene. While here you can see this DNA is accessible. Here, because of a heterochromatin, the DNA is inaccessible, and that's why transcription cannot take place. While here the DNA is accessible, and that's why the gene is on. It is transcription is on, and that's why here transcription will occur when it is acetylated. Apart from acetylation and methylation, histone, there are different histone modification, that is ubiquitination, sumoylation, phosphorylation. All these different types of histone modification is known as histone code. Just to see what all the possible roles of modification, We saw acetyl that it increases transcription and increase expression of gene. Phosphorylation of histone H1 will lead to condensation of chromosome during the replication cycle, while ADP ribosylation of histones is required for DNA repair. While methylation of histone, we saw it will lead to activation and repression of gene transcription. And here, monoubiquitination will lead to activation and repression of gene transcription, while sumylation of histones will also lead to transcription repression. Regulation by gene amplification. In this mechanism, the expression of a gene is increased several folds, in which gene is repeatedly replicated to increase the number of copies of the gene. This increased number of copies of genes are then available for transcription. That leads to enhanced expression of gene, and then that is translated to protein. So more amount of proteins are produced. Gene amplification is seen in many organisms. For example, fruit fly, Drosophila. The amplification of gene coding for eggshell protein is observed during the course of oogenesis. Gene amplification is also reported in humans. Cancer cells need folic acid to grow, and for the synthesis of folic acid, dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is required. Methotrexate is an anti-cancer drug which inhibits enzyme dihydrofolate reductase. So these malignant cells, what they do is they develop a drug resistant to long-term administration of methotrexate. By amplifying the gene coding for dihydrofolate reductase. This is the gene which codes for dihydrofolate reductase. Now, as methotrexate is given for a long-term duration, gene amplification of this gene will occur. This gene is for the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase. And can you see it is amplified? More number of genes for dihydrofolate reductase has been produced, and that is translated. And so now these cancer cells can produce more amount of enzyme dihydrofolate reductase because it is amplified. And that's why what happens, methotrexate, which was being given, will now become ineffective because the quantity or the concentration of dihydrofolate reductase enzyme has been increased because gene amplification has occurred. Okay, so this is how gene amplification will lead to develop a drug resistance against methotrexate, the anti-cancer drug. Next is regulation by gene rearrangement. We'll see this by the example of antibody production. The body possesses an enormous capacity to synthesize a wide range of antibodies. It is estimated that the human bodies can produce about 10 billion antibodies in response to antigen stimulation. This can be explained on the basis of gene rearrangement or transposition of genes, or you can say jumping genes, or somatic recombination of DNA. The structure of a typical immunoglobulin molecule consists of 2 light chain and 2 heavy chain. Each one of these chains consists an N-terminal variable V Here you can see V, and the constant C regions and the joining J regions. Here I am showing you the light chain, how the gene rearrangement occurs in light chain. In mammalian genome, it contains around 500 variable segments, 6 joining segments, and 20 constant, that is C segments. We will now just take an example. Like, for example, if we take this, the variable from here, we took one variable, that is V2. We took a J5 and we took a C10 from this DNA, okay, from this gene. So here you can see this DNA rearrangement has occurred. Now, after the DNA rearrangement, there is transcription takes place. After this DNA is rearranged, transcription takes place. This has been transcribed. And then after the mRNA is produced, then translation occurs. And after translation, it will produce a specific light chain of a specific antigen, that is antibody, a specific antibody of the antigen will be produced. By this way, innumerable combination of variable joining and the constant segments, the body's immune system can generate millions of antigen-specific immunoglobulin molecules. So it can produce millions of antibodies. Okay. In the similar way, even heavy chains of immunoglobulins formation can occur by rearrangement of 4 distinct genes of the heavy chain, that is a variable, diversity, joining, and constant. Okay. So this is how gene rearrangement, I have shown you the example of how the antigen produces a specific antibody. Okay, that is because of the gene rearrangement. DNA regulatory proteins. Proteins that regulate the gene expressions, such as repressors, inducers, enhancers, silencers, etc., need to bind to DNA with high affinity to the specific region of DNA. To achieve this, these proteins have unique structure which allows them to bind to target DNA region. These proteins show several motifs which are involved in these DNA protein interactions. These are commonly seen structural motifs like leucine zipper. Here the amino acid, the major amino acid seen is leucine. See, this is the DNA. Okay, the DNA structure, the double helix DNA structure, and these are the leucine zipper. Here, can you see here there is zinc. This is the zinc finger. And then here there is the helix turn helix. This is the DNA and this is the helix. Okay, so these are the commonly seen structural motifs. They are the DNA regulatory proteins. Role of promoters. Promoter elements plays an important role in initiating the transcription by recruiting the RNA polymerase at the correct site on the gene. Tata box and other highly conserved DNA sequence act as a part of the promoter element. A secondary regulatory element called hormone response element, which is located proximal to the promoter, plays a crucial role in gene expression in response to group 1 hormones. In addition to these elements, a special class of molecules known as enhancers and repressors play an important role in the control of gene expression. Enhancer elements are the region of DNA regulatory elements which tremendously increase the initiation of transcription at promoter. while the repressor elements decrease the transcription. Here, if you see, this is the gene, this is the promoter site, ahead of which is the proximal element, and this is the distal, far away from this promoter region. So this is a distal control element, and these are the enhancers. These enhancers will come and closer to this promoter region, and because of that, and then the transcription factors and all will come together, and then the RNA polymerase will transcribe. Can you see this enhancer? Because the whole DNA has this has bent over because of the bending protein, and that's why this enhancer, which was distal, will come nearer, and then along with the transcriptional factor and other mediator proteins, with the RNA polymerase, it will transcribe and produce the mRNA. Okay, and this is how the enhancers helps in transcription. The next is RNA processing. When the gene is transcribed into the primary transcript, it undergoes several changes in its structures to form the mature mRNA. This is known as the post-transcriptional modification. So this is the primary RNA transcript. This undergoes modification to produce the mature mRNA, and that process is the post-transcriptional modification. I have put a video on post-transcriptional modification, so if you haven't seen, please check that. Okay, so you will have in that I have talked in detail about post-transcriptional modification. RNA processing provides an additional site for eukaryotic gene expression. So, well, we will first see what all the RNA processing. So here, first thing is that capping is done on the 5' end. Then this is the site where the poly A tail has to be added for the mature mRNA. So this site, this is cut, okay, by the endonuclease. Can you see this has been removed? And this 5', this newly formed 3', their polyadylation, that means adenyl around 100 to 250 are added. So that's why this tail is known as poly A tail. And then further RNA splicing. Splicing means these are the introns, the blue one. They are the non-coded regions. They are removed. And the exons, they are the coded region. They are, these blue are removed and the exons are spliced. That means they are joined together to form the mature mRNA. Okay, so this was the pre-mRNA from the DNA. This transcribed to form the primary RNA transcript, and then after modification, it has produced the mature mRNA with the cap, and these are the exons and the poly A tail. Now, as I said, each step here, different step gene expression can be done, or you can say different types. Like for example, I'll show you IgM. There are two types of IgM. One is the IgM, which is the M, a small m, that is the beta lymphocyte membrane bound, and the other is the S, that is a IgMs, that is in the secretory form. These two forms are created by alternative usage of termination cleavage. This side, alternative way of cutting this poly A side has produced two different types of lymphocyte, beta lymphocyte. So this is one way of gene expression. The another way is that alternative mRNA splicing. In alternative mRNA splicing, here the introns are removed and the ligation of exons produce the desired mRNA through a process called splicing. As I showed you in the previous, here there is another way, that is different exons are combined together. I'll just show you. This, can you see? It has taken blue, green and the yellow exons, and here it has taken the blue, red, green and the yellow, and here it has taken the other different three. Then this forms the mRNA. Then further, by translation, it will produce a different protein. So these are the isoforms of these protein. So one gene has encoded more than one protein. Here, if you see in this way, a single gene expression results in the production of a diverse molecules. We can give an example of tropomyosin. Alpha tropomyosin has seven different isoforms in 7 different tissues that are created by alternate exon shuffling. This way, alternate exon shuffling of this mRNA. Then this mRNA, different exon shuffling has produced 7 different alpha tropomyosin in 7 different tissues. Okay, so this was the gene expression by in the mRNA splicing, by the mRNA splicing, different mRNA splicing. Next is by regulation by RNA editing. RNA editing also acts as a means of regulation of gene expression. It is through this mechanism that from the same mRNA transcript of ApoB100 gene, 2 proteins are produced. If you see here, after transcription in liver, this mRNA of this ApoB gene, the mRNA is translated to produce apolipoprotein B100. But in intestine, it produces apolipoprotein B48 because here in the intestine, there RNA editing has occurred on this codon, and instead of CAA, this has been converted into UAA. It is a stop codon, and that's why this ApoB gene, instead of B100, here it has stopped translation. Can you see? It has stopped translation, and that's why what will happen? This mRNA on translating will produce apolipoprotein B48. This is because of alternative editing of mRNA. So can you see here also 2 different proteins are produced because of regulation of gene expression. Now we will see at the level of degradation of mRNA. Expression of genes is indirectly influenced by the stability of mRNA. Certain hormones regulate synthesis and degradation of some RNA. Example, estradiol prolongs half-life of vitellogenin mRNA from few hours to about 200 hours. Ends of mRNA determines its stability. It has 5' non-coding sequence, coding region, and 3' non-coding sequence. All mRNA are capped at 5' end, and most have poly A tail at 3' end. They protect against attack by exonuclease. Stem loop structure and AU-rich regions provide stability to mRNA. At the translation level also, one of the examples is of ferritin synthesis is regulated at the level of translation. So that was about gene expression in eukaryotes, regulation of gene expression in eukaryotes. Okay, so thank you so much. And I'll put a description of the answer below this video, and do like my video and subscribe. Those who haven't subscribed, do subscribe so that you get updates, latest updates of my video. Thank you so much.